Captain's Log Supplemental. We're investigating a subspace rift that's emitting an unusual digital signal. I've had communications decode the signal and send it to my pad, and what I found is astonishing. An alternate reality, where Starfleet, the Federation, everything I know is mere fantasy, played out for the entertainment of others. I'm watching to find out more from Earth's premier experts on what's taking place. This Will and Caleb appear to be reviewing this fictional program in chronological order. Caleb is much like myself, unfamiliar with the nature of this science fiction fantasy showcase. He's watching for the first time and is having lively conversations with Will about what's taking place. My recommendation to Starfleet Command is that we tune in and learn everything that we can about this Retrek review.
Hello, computer.
I knew I would.
You betrayed your uniform!
Target their cargo hold. Time to take out the garbage.
Smooth as an android's bottom, eh, Data?
I beg your pardon, sir? He aspires to be better than I am. Come on. It's gonna be fun. 5 years in space. God help me.
This is the best day of my life! A phaser? You didn't use it? Swords are fun.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
Welcome back to another Retrek review, where each week we talk about Star Trek, and this week we're talking about episode 5 of season 3 of Star Trek The Next Generation, and that episode is entitled The Bonding. It originally aired October 22nd, 1989. It was written by Ronald D. Moore, first-time writer for the series, but a noteworthy writer. It was directed by Winrich Colby. Winrich Colby had previously directed the episodes Where Silence Has Lease, Pen Pals, Up the Long Ladder, and Evolution. The synopsis for The Bonding is Worf decides to take into his house the child of a slain subordinate, but the child is having trouble accepting his mother's death, especially when she mysteriously reappears. We had some guest appearances this week. We had Susan Powell as Marla Astor, and Marla Astor. She's a character actor who's been in a handful of things. She's played in a lot of popular TV shows, but nothing really to stand out. Then we had Gabriel Damon as Jeremy Astor. Now, Gabriel, before this part, had been in a couple shows like Punky Brewster, Different Strokes, things like that. But before this happened, in 1988, he voiced Littlefoot in the children's movie The Land Before Time.
Land Before Time. That's really funny. I grew up watching those movies all the time.
Well, now you know what Littlefoot looks like.
I always knew what Littlefoot looked like. I always knew he looked like a human.
And even though he's still alive, almost 50 years old, he kind of seemed like he stopped acting in 2006. So, yeah, not sure what he's doing now. And then, obviously, lastly, is Colin Meaney as Miles O'Brien.
Yeah.
Well, that was the introduction to the episode. But before we move on to supporters and subscribers of the channel, let's move on over to Caleb and ask Caleb, what did he think of the episode?
What did I think of this episode? I thought it was good, actually. I want to give it 2 Akutas.
Okay.
And yeah, it asks a lot of questions, and there's a lot of really interesting things that happen, story-wise, that are oh man, it actually gives you emotions for once in a Star Trek episode. And yeah, I don't know. I guess I just was really compelled by how awful this story is,
Yes.
How terrible it would be, for that to happen. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good story.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I generally remembered the episode. I wasn't really like super up to date on like beat for beat what happens in the episode. I just kind of like knew the general things, and based off of my like limited memory and then just like looking at internet like ratings of the episode, like this is very meh. So I guess they would like rate it a Roddenberry, like maybe an Akuda, but like mostly a Roddenberry. And based off of that, I was like, well, must be kind of like a drab episode. Like
Hmm.
this episode is rated practically the same as Evolution, the one with the egg and Stubbs. And it's like,
Yeah.
so when we last week when we were talking about it and then jumped ahead to now, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, well, whatever. We'll get through it just like we did
Well,
other.
we made the joke last week that like, hey, so we've had four good in a row, so we're
Right.
bound to be bad.
Also that, yeah, right. And so I was just like, whatever. So I start watching it and I'm like, okay. And I was like, fine. And then it was like practically over with. And I was like, so what's wrong with this episode? Like, why do
Yeah.
people like rate this low?
Yeah, I was
Like,
like halfway through it and I was like, am I supposed to not be enjoying this episode?
right.
Am I supposed to be hating this right now? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I generally have to just not
Yeah,
always listen to what the internet says because
stupid.
like it has its moments where you're like, okay, but
It's I think it's just one of those things where it's like if you know how we do at the end of the thing where it's like we compare the entire season,
yes,
it
right.
probably won't stand up at the end of the season.
No, yeah, I almost likely will not. But yeah,
But doing it in order like this, like so from last week, it was a good episode, but like Worf was not even in it.
right.
And then this week it's like a very Worf centric episode. And it's like, oh man, this is good. I like this. Roddenberry is gonna roll in his grave, but I like seeing people in Star Trek have emotions and
Yes,
deal with human things. And even, other species have like,
totally,
this really sucks, like as a person.
totally,
And
100%.
like experiencing that. Even like, I mean, we'll get into it, but like even having like Wesley and Beverly talk about, his dad and her husband, and it like still bothers him. Like, I was like, yeah, thank you for like making these people realistic finally,
Right,
like,
right.
yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of this that I was very pleased with.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Yeah. Idiots. Yeah.
Well, that's how it goes, and that's kind of the fun part of having this review. But before we get talking about it, let's first right off the bat. And we thank Ed, Mark Starr, and Captain Olimar for their Patreon support. And we specifically appreciate Ed Mark Starr for watching over engineering and making sure that when wispy aliens are inside the things that he keeps everybody up to date and he can
Mhm.
always manually override.
Yeah.
And then thank Captain Olimar for doing the hard lifting and having to tell people that their loved ones are dead and just not taking no guff from some copycat alien.
Yeah.
And as a privilege of being a Patreon member, they get their comments read during the podcast. So, no comment from Ed on our review this week, but Captain Olimar made two separate comments on our latest video. Who watches The Watchers? So he says, first, this is unacceptable. From My Office gets a special appearance. Where's my special appearance? And then he says in a separate comment, I've paid tens of dollars. Tens.
Ah, that's good.
That's good. Yeah, I'll have to see what we can cook up. I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Kind
That's
of.
at the it's at the $100 tier though. That's the only problem.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be fun
It would be
to
fun.
do something. I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah. He wants to come on and talk about Khan. That's what he wants to do.
I'm sure of it.
He loves it.
Yeah. So we
I want him to
appreciate.
come on next week's episode and just compare it to Dragon Ball Z the whole time. Like why it's comparable. It's funny.
Well, we appreciate him for leaving those comments, even though they were silly. We do appreciate them, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Never know. You never know
Yeah.
what's around the corner. Okay, well, without any further ado, let's get straight into the review. Yeah, so we start off the episode, they're talking. I don't know, maybe you didn't feel this way, curious, but Koinonians seems like a bad name.
Koinonians sing.
I don't know. It just like, it's not the worst thing ever, but I also just was like, I don't know.
It must be hard to come up with new alien names every week.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like because I don't like the word coin in it, like if they're coin aliens.
Yeah, they're coin based.
Yeah. Like it's spelled with a K, but it doesn't really matter. I don't know. Just was like,
Nah.
wasn't in love with the alien name. And then the other funny part was, so all that's happening, they're down there and he's getting information, and which was fun, which was an interesting way to get exposition to the audience, was have Picard like talk to Data and then ask him like auxiliary questions. And then Data is like, oh yes, well, and whoa, and he's like answering everything. I enjoyed that. But the thing that made me laugh really or quickly in the opening was, so Troy is like clearly in distress, and then Picard's like talking to Data, and then she's like, Captain, no, wait,
Yeah.
wait. And she's like, beam him up right now. And then like a beat goes by, like maybe half a second.
Not even a second, yeah.
And then Worf's like,
We have an emergency.
emergency beam out. Blah, blah, blah. He says like a full sentence or two.
Mhm.
And then Picard's like, okay, beam him up. And I was like, you don't have to like wait for people to conclude their sentences like when they're asking to be beamed out. And like
Yeah.
also Troy was like actively like basically yelling. Sure, I get him being like what? Like being like kind of caught off guard by her, but then when the second you hear Worf be like, Captain Emergent, just be like transporter room, beam them up, like, okay.
Yeah. Also, like, Worf doesn't need to radio the captain. Just radio the beam, just radio O'Brien and just say, hey, we need to beam up now. You don't need to bother Picard.
That's true.
You tell him when you get up there, right? In the transporter room. Captain, there's
Yeah.
an emergency. Yeah. Well, it's just one of those things that so the audience can hear and see what's going on. That's
Oh, yes,
legitimately.
Yes.
I'll tell you, Troy irritated me in this episode more than others.
There were a couple parts of it that I was not in love with, yeah.
And it was it worked itself all out. All my issues kind of got either pushed off or resolved. But yeah, there's just a few things. This kind of started it where, it's like sometimes, because of plot, she can't sense anything.
Right.
And then this time is legitimately, she's like, she can sense like danger. She can sense like landmines. Because she's like, hey, I'm really worried for the away team. And then it's like, and then she steps on the landmine and blows up. It was like,
yeah.
so sensing. Like, I don't understand.
I think what legitimately happens is she does seem a little distressed before the
A little bit.
bomb goes off. But I think that's just, I don't know. I think that's just the TV show trying to like ramp up that we're going to cut back to her because she seems weird. So keep your memory on her. But I think what she legitimately senses is like the explosion goes off and she's reacting to like pain and them being like scared. And she senses that. And then Worf is, basically putting two and two together in those few seconds. And then he's requesting the beam out. So I don't think she's sensing danger. I think she's feeling the emotions of everybody being injured and like seeing her likely dead.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like they just brush too quickly over it.
A little bit, yeah.
You know what I mean? So let me explain it. It's like by her saying that and then Worf immediately saying that they have an emergency and they need to beam out, it just again furthers the point that like she doesn't really do anything.
No. Right.
Because her split second earlier didn't save anybody. It doesn't help the situation. It's just like, oh, they need to get out of here. And then Worf's like, hey, we need to get out of here. It's like, great. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't really do anything.
No.
It doesn't help anybody. You know what I mean? So like that's my complaint is like why even do it then?
Yeah, that's the type of thing that's the type of writing maneuver where you would have her do that. Like, hey, I think you should beam them up and then check in with Worf, and Worf's like, no, we're fine. And then he's like, why are you saying this, counselor? And then she's like, I don't know. They feel very stressed. I feel like something bad is going to happen. And then Worf contacts him again, like, emergency beam out, right? And it's like, oh. that's like the writing mechanic that you use. Like, it doesn't make any sense why she would know that bad things are going to happen, but that's at least how you would write that scene instead of like what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
oh no, oh no.
Yeah, it was just weird.
It was. But so before the musical intro and then after the musical intro, I assume you felt the same way. I thoroughly enjoyed Worf's like burnt, damaged
Oh man. Yeah.
like uniform and his whole thing. Because like when he first beams in, you can see that his shoulder is all like chopped up and like cut and stuff, and he's got like burn and like smoke marks and stuff like
It's
that.
great.
But then when they come back from the musical intro, and now it's like a much more pushed in shot of him, you can like they have gone so far to like literally like do all of the like burning shrapnel, like all the burning
Yeah.
shrapnel that would have like hit his uniform and then like, burned it up. It was just, I don't know, it was a very good job at.
It was great. Yeah. No, he looked great immediately. Like, yeah, I really enjoyed it, you know. But that also just is my, where I stand. Like sometimes stuff is just too clean, you know. So
Yeah,
having his uniform be like, half blown up and like shrapnel and blood and it's
right.
like, yeah, this is what I want, you know. People get hurt and damaged and,
Yeah.
you
Well, they're
know,
they're starting to think about it now. They're starting to think,
well,
yeah.
that's good.
They make an interesting, they talk about how Jeremy is now an orphan and that
Yeah.
Worf is an orphan. So there's like that whole thing is kind of brought back up again, which was
Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah.
We briefly touched on it, but I like when they cut back to the bridge and Riker talks to Wesley. It's like that was already that early in the episode. It was like a great callback to Wesley's dad being dead and like Riker knowing this.
Yeah. I did like that. There's a lot of really good stuff, like right off the bat.
Yeah, like it was pretty decent. And, Worf extinguishing the candle flame was like interesting. I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this opening stretch, like where Picard has to go talk to Jeremy. But they're talking about it in the med bay. And then, uh,
Mm. Yeah, so this was a second instant for me where Deanna was annoying to me.
yes,
She's like, "Hey, so I sense that you have like a lot of distress about like having to go inform this kid that his mom's
yes,
dead." And it's like, again,
yeah.
you're just really earning your place on the ship, Deanna. Like, I don't know what they would do.
Yeah, I notated that.
Just like, dude.
It's in my notes that she's remarking on that she can feel Picard's weight of duty.
Yeah.
And my note then says Troy is Captain Obvious.
Yeah. Not Captain Alimar, but Captain
No,
Obvious.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's exactly how I felt. It was just like, yeah, thanks for your services. This is what people. This
Yes.
is why therapy has like a bad connotation like back in this time because like this is what therapists do. They just state the obvious, and then you're supposed to be like, I never thought about that.
You know
But that's
what?
like not what therapy is.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I was very annoyed by that.
It,
And then she kind of, I don't remember if it's in this scene too or the next few, but like my other problems with her was like she kind of paraded around like she was an expert in like child like psychology and like how everyone should act and everyone should like treat each other and deal with this situation of
yes,
death.
yes.
It was like it kind of got annoying to me a little bit, you know. She just kept like every
There's,
time she was around, she was talking about like, well, you shouldn't do that. You should.
yeah,
It was like,
there's definitely a bit here coming up that I was just like, okay, but yeah,
I think that that's kind of what this whole episode is about, right? It's about people in like leadership roles have to come to the conclusion that like they have to talk about their feelings. All right, like that's kind of what the
yeah,
end the entire ending of this episode is like, hey, there's a lot of unresolved feelings that we should have talked about but didn't.
right.
But now we
Never
need
happened.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah. And like that's fine. I just felt like she was more of like everybody's like mother
yeah, but
in a
also
lot of
like,
these
but
episodes.
also
Yeah.
like a nagging mother in a way where it's like it wasn't
Like
helpful.
annoying about it. Yeah. And like even every time like, she'd be like, well, well, I forget what word she used. Being brave. And Picard's like,
Oh,
good. And she's like, no, it's not good. He needs
yes,
to express his emotions and talk about how sad he is about his mom. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, but right, everybody kind of deals with stuff differently, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's
what makes you the expert on grief, you
it's
know? Well, that's just some of the stuff that annoyed me about her character this week.
the thing that's like really strange to me was what you're talking about. So everybody, they're in the ready room. Troy and Picard are in the ready room now, and the Brave line happens, and they're
Hmm.
just talking about it, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, I don't really get the impression that like a couple days or like a week has gone by. It feels like it's been 20 minutes or it's been like an hour.
Yeah.
And she's just like, no, he's being brave. I don't think we like this thing. And it's like, and the Picard's like, oh, interesting. And I was just like, why is everybody so up Jeremy's butt about his grief?
Yeah. And to your point too, like if she's the counselor, why isn't she in there talking to him? Why is she talking to everybody? That was
Right.
the other thing that annoyed me is like, why
Yeah.
is everybody on the ship talking about the kid and not talking to the kid?
Right.
That they're
Yes.
not involving the kid in anything, but they're making all these decisions about the kid. And then they go in there and it's like, so he just lives in this room now alone, all by himself, and like everyone's just like, well, he'll get through it. It's
Yeah.
like, why aren't you talking to the kid? Why aren't you involving the kid in anything? Everybody's talking about him, and then you go in this room, and he's just sitting there looking at his tablet. And also, they have videos now, so that's great
Yeah.
news.
Perfect.
So, but it's just like, why are we talking about the kid and not doing stuff with the kid?
That's what made me think what was happening was, they cut to him, they're talking to him, and then it's like, and then they cut away, and then they're having like other scenes in the ship, and like he's not anywhere to be present. And
No.
you're like, oh, well, this must be a great amount of time,
Yeah.
right? And they're
Yeah,
still like,
right.
man, Jeremy's not doing good. Like,
And he's not doing good at all.
and you're like,
Remember
oh,
how
it's like,
his mom died last month?
right, exactly, right.
Like,
But then you
dude.
find out it's like, no, we just came from Jeremy's room and he's not doing well. And you're like, well, yeah, dude, like, what do you want him to do?
It's been an hour, idiot.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think I would like to have the boy do a ceremony with me.
yes.
Well, you have unresolved issues too, Worf. You should really get in touch with your feelings and talk to me like Picard does. So she's just lecturing everybody this week. This is what her
Yeah,
role was. Yeah,
they, yeah, I
it's
thought,
fine. I don't know.
oh, no,
It ended up not really bothering me at the end because it actually kind of served a purpose. Usually she just does this stuff and it doesn't really
yeah, it doesn't go anywhere,
do
right?
anything.
Right. Goes nowhere, does nothing.
Goes nowhere, does nothing. Yes, exactly.
But I like that Picard back to the turbo lift when they're going down and Troy,
Sure.
I thought it was very interesting that as a show, they're like, let's have the captain discuss about how terrible of an idea it is to have children on the
Yeah,
Enterprise.
I was like, thank you, Picard, like for
Yeah.
stating the obvious.
So obviously we'll get into it in trivia, but I don't know because this is like an open policy thing. So we're like fans
Mm,
writing that this doesn't make any sense, or was the writing staff being like, okay, we need to address this because like this is weird. That like
yeah.
there's an episode revolving around an officer dying and that officer's child being on the ship, and now that child is an orphan, and it's like why?
Hmm.
And
And he lives on the ship now.
right. And Troy, like, obviously makes a good point that, like, well, doesn't really matter. Even if he was on Earth, like, he's still going to deal with this thing.
But it makes me feel like if they have nothing set up for this type of scenario in
Right.
the future. Like there's no such thing as like adoption or like
Right.
grief counsel centers where he can go to or any of that stuff. They're like, no, he'll be fine on the ship. And then like every time you see him, he's just alone in his room. And it's like, I wonder why he's having issues. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't
Well, I
know.
don't. It's so
I don't
strange.
know. It's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird.
But I do like when they go to him in his room or in wherever that was, and they tell him, maybe he was like in school or something, but they go and tell him that like his mom had died, and he's very like straightforward, matter of fact with Picard. And he's like,
Yeah.
okay. And he's like, I'm an orphan now and I'm alone. Picard's
No one's
like,
allowed on the Enterprise, Jamie.
no
No
one.
one. I did like that line, but it is very funny.
Yes. But to the credit of the show, like, we see Picard connecting, like trying to connect with a kid,
I actually care.
which
Yeah.
was nice. Even,
Well, and it's one of those things where it's like, right, so Picard has guilt because he's the one that initiated the mission,
Right.
And Worf is guilty because he's the one leading the mission. So it's like, the weight of responsibility is a good like concept for the show, you know.
Yeah.
And now here's the aftermath, and then also having this like bother Wesley because it's a repeat of like when
Yeah.
his
Right.
dad died.
Right.
Picard like told him that like his dad was it was really good. Like I liked that stuff.
Yeah.
And then when
Yeah.
we get into it, the stuff with the alien was like, man, this is actually like really messed up. Like this is really,
Really.
really bad. Like really bad. Oh,
Yeah. So we have that commercial break after he says no one to Jeremy and he's holding onto his arm. And then it cuts
yeah.
to Riker drinking pink juice in 10 forward and it's like a super close up of him.
Yeah.
And then Data comes in and it's like a really tight super close up of him
I
too.
really noticed Data's makeup in this scene for
Yeah.
the first time, you know? Not on his face, but like his neck. You could see like where like when he moves and like his neck folds and you could see like how the makeup was kind of like, yeah. But it's like the first time I've really ever noticed that,
Well, we usually don't get this close to him, you know?
Well, that's true, yeah.
So he asks a lot of questions about death and familiarity, and it was an interesting back and forth between the two of them.
This was
I
good.
enjoyed him, like, obviously, and they bring up Tasha, right? So it's
Well,
like,
because he's asking him like, why does everybody keep asking like how well they knew her? Like,
he's like,
what's the point? Like does
basically, like,
familiarity make it sadder?
right? He's just like, I
And
don't.
Riker's like, yeah,
And he's like, yeah, but shouldn't we always be sad regardless of who's dying? He's like, well,
yeah,
yes, it would be nice, but it's not how it always goes.
yeah. What does he say that there'd be a lot less
Bloody, but yeah,
bloodshed in
yeah.
human history if that was how everybody felt about death?
Yeah, but she's not wrong, which is I know we didn't watch the episode, but I know it's a callback to the original series where
Mm,
Spock says to McCoy that, you know, your history is rife with bloodshed because of like people not feeling remorse over the death of one individual kind of a thing.
yeah,
But the thing I just liked about it was the fact that they found a really smart way to bring Data in like this and then also tie in Tasha's death and have
yeah.
it make like character
Makes sense. Yeah.
sense for each of the characters.
Well, it's like you can write well with Data because he's curious about stuff and human nature, and like that's your escape, like that's your easy way out to like write and explain scenes.
Yeah.
But to have him be like not understand like why like knowing somebody makes it harder, and then it was like, well, do you feel the same way about this archaeologist being dead that you felt when
Yeah.
you know
Well,
when
that,
Yar died? And he's like, well, no. I was like, well, yeah, there you go, dude. Like that's the difference.
yeah. Yeah, the thing that I liked about this scene too was the fact that later when Troy's like, I know it's a life down there, but I can't read what its intentions are because everybody's upset on the ship. And as
Hmm.
much as that's like, okay, the thing
Hmm.
that I liked about it was a scene like this helped establish that people on the ship are actively upset because not only is it showing Riker clearly like,
Oh,
he's not okay, but then also when Data comes in and he's like seven people or several people have said these things to me, it just gives this feeling that like the ship is alive and like people exist on the ship and like
hmm.
people bother each other and they talk to each other and it's like I enjoyed the fact that this scene gave weight to her saying that instead of it just being like I can't sense it down there on the planet. It's like okay, yeah, I'm sure you can. Where this actually shows us that people on the ship are upset.
Yeah. See, I like you saying that because I didn't feel that way. I honestly did think it was just an easy escape route because
It's
she's like, well, there's too many emotions on the ship, and then it was like, okay, so Picard and Jeremy and Worf are
right,
like high emotion, like that's too much for you to sense.
right.
But I guess the death of a crewmate would affect the entire ship, and people are not, they're
It's a
thinking
thing.
about it.
Yeah, it's a thing where it's like that part is not awesome. It's not like a really well written thing to a degree, but I can respect it when they show it. Like if they're
Yeah.
like people are angry and then you have a scene before that where people were angry, you're like, okay, I believe it. But when
Right.
you're just
Yeah.
like you just say things to say them, it's like, well, okay. Sure,
Yeah.
you can say anything at that point.
Because even Riker, I guess, in the bar, he seemed like he was affected by losing a crew member,
Well, yeah,
even if he
'cause
didn't know him.
yeah, because he says the line of Data's like, well, he said he opens it with, hey, how well did you know her? And he's like, oh, I hung out with her a few times. And then there's like a pause, and he's like, yeah, I didn't really know her.
Does that imply that Riker hooked up with her?
No, I
That
don't
applies.
think. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yes. I know every woman on this ship. Also, in the future, they still drown their sorrows at the bar.
100%. 100%.
But weren't they lecturing that one guy about alcoholism?
He was drinking pink lemonade.
It's the pink nectar from Ziltion 5.
Exactly. Yes, and when you drink, it makes all of your problems go away.
Yep. It doesn't make you drunk, but it helps your brain, so it's fine.
It numbs the short-term memory.
It
part of
has
your brain.
no addiction chemicals in it. No, that's good. That's really good.
I like the fact that they have Geordi like looking at the bomb thing, and that
Yeah, like how you immediately sends more people down to the planet.
get him right down there.
Oh my God, somebody just blew up and died. Well, why don't you get a team, go down there, see if you can
See what blew up and made everybody.
see where she stood, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, but I like the fact that they say that tricorders. Data says that tricorders couldn't even detect this thing, and I like that because
Because it's ancient.
it helps the audience not be angry at Worf, right? Even though we don't care about who Marla Astor is, like, we don't know who she is, right? She's nobody. And I know there's no reason to be angry at Worf because it's a TV show and it's not real.
He didn't command her to stand on the exploding device,
Right.
So like whatever.
Right, but you can admit that, like, if it was like, oh, like, well, he just wasn't scanning, it's like, well, then Worf could have prevented this. And what you learn really is like, there's no way anybody could have known this was going to happen. It's the thing we were talking about the other week where it's like, how do you write an episode if the Avengers can't figure it out, well, then the ship has the technology to figure it out. And it's like, okay, well, you have to write it in such a way where it's like, well, the tricorders couldn't detect it, kind of a thing. So I appreciated that.
Yeah, I did like that. I like the scene. I think we talked about it briefly where when Worf was upset talking to Deanna, he's like, I can't like get vengeance on an enemy that's been dust for 1,000 years. I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a kind of a decent scene with the two of them. I just thought it was like a mixture of weird and interesting, the camera angles, like through the slats.
What's the official name for that room?
Well,
because isn't that like where Stubbs shoots the nanites?
It is.
So is this like a security room or?
No, it's a computer room.
It's a cool room. It's a cool set.
Well,
I enjoy it, and I can't wait to never see it again. So that's great.
Okay.
Why would you film in a room that you built? Why wouldn't you do that?
No.
Yeah, and it's cool because it not only is it like a shipmate and he was in command, but it also harkens to like his Klingon.
Right, exactly.
It's like it was a senseless death. She didn't die in battle. She died from some freak accident. It's pointless.
Yeah. And then he's like, I want to do the Klingon ritual and make him a part of the family. And she's like,
no, he's better left alone in his room with his videos.
I was just thinking, like, yes, Worf. I just like the point that she was like, yes, Worf, I understand what you're trying to do, but like, probably not the best time to just be like, listen, I'm an orphan. You're now an orphan. I'm going to do this Klingon ritual, and we're family forever.
Yep, and we'll be brothers.
And you're like, maybe give him like, I don't know, some time to grieve his family before you're like, nah.
No.
I thought
we are brothers.
I know that like the Enterprise is really big, and I know there's a lot of people on it. And I also know that, like, there's just, in reality, like, anytime you and I are ever in a place where, like, we have the potential of knowing a lot of people, it doesn't mean that you know everybody. So I get that.
It seems like you would know, like,
the chief of security.
The chief of security. Or, like, I feel like you would know senior staff, right?
Yes.
And his mom, like, also, like, did stuff with the senior staff,
Right. And it just makes it. And maybe that's what was supposed to be the case, but it made the scene feel like they're going to investigate this planet, and it was like, okay, who do we want? And Picard was like, take down these, like, assemble a team of these people. And Worf or Picard looked at the list and said, "Oh, we have an archaeologist on our ship. Send the archaeologist down." And then she just met Worf in the transporter room, and they beamed down. It made it feel like it wasn't like they're not friends. So it's like he doesn't know. Like even Picard didn't know that like Jeremy Astor was on the ship. Because Troy's
Right.
like, well, the father's dead and all this stuff. And I get it. It's impossible to just be so familiar with like literally everybody on the
Yeah.
ship. I totally understand. But specifically in this scene where like Jeremy doesn't know really who Worf is, he also is like kind of surprised by the fact that Worf is a Klingon, and Worf like doesn't really, he's never met Jeremy.
Yeah.
It just
He
kind
learns
of,
about Klingons in school, though.
yes.
He learns about death and stuff in school, too. So that's good.
What did I teach you about Klingons?
That they suck.
Yeah, exactly.
That they'll get your parents killed.
Exactly. Yeah, it just was a weird thing that I thought like they've never even crossed paths like in the hallway. Like you've never seen him sitting and eating in 10 forward. Like,
No. No, this must be like on the other side, like the very basement of the ship,
yeah, and I was waiting too to see if there was like an explanation that I missed where like how long Jeremy and the Astors had like been on the Enterprise. Because then I was like, was Jeremy one of the kids that got kidnapped by those aliens?
It gets a little muddy, yeah.
Right, because then Wesley doesn't know, and he's never met Jeremy, and that was like, but
Doesn't even want to talk to Jeremy.
it's like, well, does that mean that Jeremy wasn't on the ship? Like, I don't know. It just
I
was
don't
one of those
know.
things. And then we cut to Wes and Beverly in the med bay, and he comes in, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she's like, "Hey, Wes," and he's like, "Hey," and she's like, "Yeah, so Deanna wants you to go and talk to Jeremy about your dad," and he's like, "Oh, I don't really want to do that." And she's like, "Well, it would really help him." He's like, maybe." And then she's like, "All right," and then she just turns her back to him like completely, and it's like
Yeah.
clearly Wesley is distressed, and then he gets up and walks all the way around, and then she's like, he's like,
Mommy.
"Mom, I'm sad
Mommy.
about Dad," and she's like, "Yep, your father's dead, that's for sure." He's like, "Sometimes I can't even see his face," and she's like,
Yeah.
"Yep."
Well, get a picture.
It was like until she started to like
Yeah.
express her emotions, she felt like the worst mother ever.
Yeah.
It was really,
There was a couple things in there. Yeah, you're just like, what is she?
yeah.
And and she wants to be involved in Wesley's life like so badly now.
Right,
She's back in the ship.
exactly.
And now like here he comes like actually wanting like motherly advice, and she's just like, "Yeah, Wesley, we all miss your dad. We all miss your father. Oh well.
I
Isn't
get
there
it.
like nanites you should be stuff with?"
And I get it. Like that part of it is to show like this is how Beverly deals with the grief of her husband, and like she's a little cold. And I get that that's like the writing mechanic, but you would think that it's not Wesley's fault, and that would be like the thing they bond over is the fact that she's also upset about it still, and so is Wesley. And so therefore they like draw closer as son and mother after her being absent for like a year type of a thing.
Doesn't she also blame Picard too?
A couple times she has made remarks.
Yeah, it's just interesting.
And then I immediately thought of you and I said, there's no way Caleb isn't just like, okay, like getting really weirded out is when we cut back to Jeremy in the room and he's just sitting there and he's like watching the video and he's like just sad. And then all of a sudden it's like, Jeremy.
Hello, Jamie. Mother? Picard told me you exploded.
Just that angle of him sitting and then this like blurry out of focus thing leaning off the side of the wall in like a pink outfit.
Yeah, it was just
You're
like,
oh
God.
no.
Oh no, not again. So the actual like picture thumbnail for this episode is Jeremy, his mom, and a cat. And I was like, I don't understand the context. And then she dies, and then she comes back in that pink thing, and I was just like, oh,
Oh, I get the context.
where's the cat?
Patches comes.
Patches will be here, don't you worry.
Yeah.
I even redesigned your allergies.
And
I literally, my note was, yes. I said, Wesley can't remember his dad's face. Too bad he doesn't have photos or videos like Jeremy does.
no.
And then I said, I'm glad that they're actually telling us Wesley and Beverly still deal with the loss of their husband and dad. And then I wrote, Ghost Mom, oh boy.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid, Wolf. I'm just here for the boy.
Well, this is the halfway point. So go down to the comment section and write, Jeremy. When we came back and she's there and she's just talking to him and she's like,
Yeah.
oh, blah, blah. I'm like, this is
bad.
this is
real
really
bad.
bad. Just so creepy. And she's like, no, I'll make you happy.
Yeah.
Go down to the planet and everything. It's just like, get this thing away from Jeremy.
Yeah. So like this was bad here. I didn't write down anything in my notes until after they tried to beam off the ship.
Yes.
And he's like, "Why are you doing this? My mom's here." And then she like disappears
Yes.
again. And he's like freaking out. And I was like, I wrote in my notes, I was like, this is pretty messed up.
Yeah. It's pretty rough.
Even like later on when she's like, "Don't worry, Jamie, we'll always be together. I pro." And then she's like gone. The whole room's gone. And she's gone. I was just like, "Oh my God, this kid is going to need an extensive amount of therapy."
Like, he's never coming out of therapy.
No.
Like, hey, remember when your mom died? Like, yeah, I'm sad. Do you remember when she came back? Do you
Yeah.
remember when she came back again? Yeah. Do you remember when she came back again? Yeah.
Hey, you remember
how
when
that
your mom
wasn't your mom?
died and those aliens tried to kidnap you by pretending to be your mom? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Here's pill number 2.
Because Troy was just telling me how
Ooh.
just horrible your situation was and how I should handle it.
So did you want to like light candles or?
It's for all the mothers.
Yes, it
All
is.
these candles cry out to every mom.
And I have lit my candle. Yeah. Worf comes to the room, obviously, really good part, and he's like,
Yeah.
did you hear the good news, Lieutenant Worf? She's back. He's like, who are you talking about? And she's like, my mother. Jeremy, come over here. That is it's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Just immediately knows like this is bad. This is
This
something is bad. Yeah.
This is not good. And then he calls to the bridge and he's like, Lieutenant Astor is in her quarters. And then he's like, and then Riker's like, what? So
Repeat that? Yeah.
And then he's like, Lieutenant
She's in the
Astor.
quarters and she's trying to take the boy.
Like, oh.
He's going to miss his ceremony.
And then the thing I liked in the scene, so Picard, immediately is like, listen, don't antagonize whatever
Yeah,
this
don't
thing
engage
is.
at all.
Like, just let it be.
And she's like, all right, well, we're going to the transporter. And he's like, all right.
So am I.
Picard, they're going to the transporter.
And he tells Riker to shut it down, the yellow alert for security, and they all go to think. And then the thing I like, there's a great bit where Picard is on the bridge and he's like giving all these orders, and then he pauses for a brief second, like he's thinking, like he's trying to like anticipate like what he's gonna do, and then he goes, come with me, counselor, and then they both go into the turbo lift. There's just like he acts very well. Like Patrick Stewart knew,
Yeah.
like he's such a good actor that instead of just saying the line, he says all these bits like blah 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 blah, and then he's like, okay, counselor, you're with me. He has this nice built-in like pause where he's thinking about.
Yeah,
Like
he gives
how
the commands. He gives the commands like immediately, like protocol, and then he's like, "Okay, now how do I actually?
Right.
How am I actually going to fix this situation?"
Right. And then I'm sure you agree, him in the transporter room with the mom alien and Jeremy and Worf is like very good because he's just like, what are you doing? And it's like, well, we're going down to the planet. And he's like, why are you going down to the planet? It's like, so he can never be alone and have a family and have a home. And he's like, I can't let you do that. And then he's like, what's wrong with you, Picard?
This is my mother. Can't you see her?
And he's like,
You've already taken away from me once, Picard. You will not get the chance again.
And then he's just like, okay, Jeremy, so here's the thing, buddy.
Here's the deal. Aliens exist, right?
He's like, I don't know who this is or what this is, but
I
it's
can tell
not.
you who it's not.
Right.
It's not your disgusting mother.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that sequence where then they grab him and Worf's like,
No, what are you doing?
I thought it that Troy uses some good logic when we come back, and now when she goes back to the room and it's just it's
Oh
like
man.
obviously the alien has come back into the ship and
Yeah, that like whole so she's like talking to him and it's like, okay, yeah, she's making some good points, and then they open the door and he's like, "This is my house. This is everything's here. The statue, I remember
yes.
these masks. Oh man, I love these masks.
It's like, is this Patches, my cat? He's like,
Ghost
amazing.
cat.
It's like amazing. Like,
Man,
no.
I remember this sculpture on the wall that looked like somebody's front deck exploded. I
Yeah.
remembered all this stuff very well.
Yeah, just her trying to like reason with the alien thing. Like, so this is not healthy though. Like,
Yeah, this is
he's living
weird.
in a fantasy. Like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we'll get to it, but like that the end speech
Oh
is
yeah,
like so good
yes,
about like,
yeah,
well,
yeah,
what are
yeah,
you gonna do about his friends, his education,
yeah, yeah.
you know, growing up, having a wife, having a family. What are you gonna do for all that stuff, you know?
Right.
I have an interesting theory too. I'm excited to tell you about at the
Okay.
end
All
of this.
right. Okay. So I also wrote in my notes that it was brutal to have the kid flip back and forth between.
All the time.
It was pretty rough. But the thing that I'll before we go into trivia, the thing that I know you're not excited to talk about, and I felt sad for you, was before it comes into the commercial break, it's like, okay, we've changed the shields so that like this thing can't access our antimatter containment pods and like
Mm.
absorb energy that way and then like create material in the room, right? It's like it doesn't have the power source. And it's like, uh-oh, the thing's coming from the planet and now it's coming to the ship. And then it's like, boom, and it goes into the ship, right?
Yeah,
And they're all like, ah. And then it cuts to the hallway. And I was like, ooh, Caleb's favorite, a streak of light alien.
love it.
This
Yeah.
is
Energy being.
and it's like, yes, I get it. Like it's very alien to like this entity that's just a streak of light is very alien to what we are used to, but
Yeah.
it's
Or at least
so
she kind of explains it, when she's talking
yes,
about their species. She says that they were half of them were a species of energy and the other were matter. So it's
right,
like some of them were flesh and some of them were energy beings. And it's like,
right.
okay,
Yeah, I don't hate it because it's just like
yeah.
it's whatever. But I just know for you, you're like,
But it's always that or a ball of light or
right,
something ethereal. It's like
yeah,
it's the easiest way to do an alien.
yeah.
Just make it an ethereal being. This isn't even my true phone.
You're
It's so,
so
it's so beautiful.
yeah, exactly. Yes,
I
yes.
just, it is what it is. I just every season there's one of those
Every season,
or a few of those.
not all of them. Every season.
Every season.
This is a Star Trek like foundational.
Yes, yeah, and TOS was like that too, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I just miss the days of when that worm alien got on board Enterprise and strung everybody up. That's the type of that's my jam.
Well, that sounds like a perfect time for trivia.
Oh, not again. All right, now you're overacting.
So this episode introduces Ronald D. Moore to the Star Trek writing fold, something he would be a part of for 10 years
Ooh,
across 3 incarnations of Trek. So he
wow.
becomes this Ronald D. Moore who wrote this episode becomes a very like big part of Star Trek. He recalls, I had been in LA for about 3 years and I was doing an odd series of jobs. I was a messenger, I was an animal hospital receptionist, I did all kinds of things. Then I started dating this girl and she had a connection to Star Trek The Next Generation because she had helped work on the pilot and she knew that I was a big fan of the original series. I had like books and posters and stuff in my apartment. I was a big fan of the old show.
Hmm.
Next Gen was in its second season at that point, and she said, I could get you a tour of the sets. And I thought, oh my God, I'd love to see the sets. It would be amazing. It took like 4 weeks to set it up. And in the interim, I just sort of decided to take a shot and sat down and wrote an episode. and brought it with me. The guy who was giving the set tour, I conned him into reading it, and he turned out to be one of Gene Roddenberry's assistants.
That's awesome.
He really liked it, and he gave it to my first agent. She submitted it through the front door to the show, and it went into the slush pile. And it sat in the slush pile for about 7 months. When the third season began, a new executive producer came on board, Michael Piller, and he went through the slush pile and found it and brought it and produced it and asked me to do a second one.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, like all that stuff that Melinda was talking about and other things we've talked about where it's like outside people were writing for the show. This Michael Piller guy finally like accessed this pile that they had like accepted scripts, but like they weren't doing anything with. And now we're
Yeah,
going, well, people have written stuff. Like let's just
because
go
they didn't
through
have paper clips on them.
it. Right.
It seems like that's such a. I'm surprised they don't do that nowadays. Would be like, oh yeah, you think you can write better? Write in a script,
Yeah.
and then it's like, well, we can't use it, and you didn't follow the format. It's like a way to shut people up, you know?
Yeah, totally. So then Michael Piller comments on it. He says, I came in without any shows to shoot. There were no stories and no scripts in the works, which is the greatest nightmare you can imagine. There's nothing to fall back on, and the appetite of any weekly show is voracious because as soon as you've got a script done, you have to have another one right behind it, and it continues that way. I went
Yep.
through every scrap of paper to see what was here from past administrations that I could develop. The first thing that came to my attention, the first thing I saw that had any value was a speculative script that had been sitting around called The Bonding. It appealed to me enormously. It needed a
Hmm.
little work and hadn't tied the alien story to the other story quite right. And it said that the script went through a substantial rewrite by Melinda Snodgrass, which again makes
Woo.
perfect sense because
Yeah,
he knows
because
how
it has good
characters
dialogue.
exactly. And Pillar,
'Cause people talk to each other.
exactly, and was according to Ronald D. Moore, excuse me, greatly improved in the process. He noted the bonding was completely out of my hands after I sold the script. So they
How crazy is
rewrote.
that though? That like he wrote that like right before he went.
I
He was
mean,
like, "Hey, I'm going to do
that's
a tour. I should write up a quick episode."
yeah. I mean, the way to honestly really look at this is like, man, this is basically like he's not quite as big, but just in so you can understand. This would be like they're filming Star Wars, whatever. Star
Hmm.
Wars, one of the like new Star Wars movies. And they're going and this guy gets access to a tour behind the scenes of what they're filming because somebody's working on it. And then he ends up getting into the hands of George Lucas or J.J. Abrams, whoever you want to say. And it's like, well,
Hmm.
that guy's Jon Favreau. Like, that's who Ronald D. Moore is. Like, the
Right.
guy ends up becoming, like, kind of the face of Star Trek, just like Michael
Wow.
Piller. Like, he
Wow.
becomes, like, he's like one of probably the top five people in
Hmm.
Star Trek that everybody across the fan base is like, oh, yeah, Ronald D. Moore. Yeah, like, got it.
That's weird that a fan that enjoyed the show and understood the show more than the creators and writers, it was actually a better writer and producer of the show.
Yeah, it really was.
Weird.
Well, you'll like it
Weird.
here because it goes into explain like what Ronald D. Moore, because there's a Ronald A. Moore or B. Moore that also works on the show.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, it says the biggest change to his script was that when Jeremy first learns his mother had been killed, he recreates her on the holodeck. Moore stated, the thing I was playing
Interesting.
with is what are the dangers of the holodeck? A kid goes in and recreates his dead
Lots,
mother.
lots and lots.
What do you do in that situation? They felt that they didn't want to do another holodeck show at that point, and it moved the focus away from the aliens. What
Hmm.
sparked the idea was that we have this shipload of 1,000 people, and this time they've brought their families. It never seems the series has dealt head on with some of the question a family ship would inevitably bring up. I wanted to write a story about what happens when someone's mother dies and what happens to that kid and our family on board the ship. That process naturally led to Worf because he's an orphan as well.
Yeah.
So basically they were like, we like the idea that, this kid's parent is going to die and that there's countless families on the ship, which we can play to. We've already written that. It's like, but instead of him just being an and it's like it's a holodeck thing and it's more about what's wrong with this kid. It's like, well, let's tie it into the opening things that kill the mom. Let's tie it into the planet on the surface and like go from
Right.
there. And that was the thing that I know I'm going to talk about it during trivia, but that was the thing I wasn't sure about. It wasn't until later where I'm pretty confident about it now. But when Jordy goes down and he says that the things have been dug up and deactivated, my first gut reaction was like Worf must have gone down there and like because he's so mad, like he disconnected everything. But then I was like, oh no, it's the alien lady thing like went through and did that because she's angry about the this Koinoinian bomb being like a remnant of a violent
Yeah.
past, and she's like, "No more will this happen," type of thing. Like that, she felt responsible. Just was an interesting thing that I was thinking
Yeah.
about.
It's just funny. Like she could have done that centuries ago.
Yeah, well, yeah. Then, according to Michael Piller, this change was at the behest of Gene Roddenberry, who objected that children in the 24th century would have a greater acceptance of death. It
Oh
was
yeah.
Piller who suggested the alien involvement to fit the story into Roddenberry's vision.
Like in the future when they can extend life and they can cure like all major diseases that kill people constantly in our society, kids then they'll deal with it so much easier.
So much easier.
Because they don't see it that often.
Right.
We see it like every day. They don't see it at all, but they'll deal with it a lot better. Yeah.
Got it. Pretty great. Yeah.
That's so stupid.
I like,
Sometimes his things are so like, hey, did you think about that for more than 3 seconds, Gene? Because like that makes absolutely no sense.
yeah, it's like I get what he's saying that like children are very well educated and blah blah blah, but it's like but he's still a child and it's like it's still emotions and it's still something that
Hmm.
is going to hurt the child. It doesn't matter how well acclimated to it he is or how educated
Oh,
he is. It doesn't matter. Death
yeah.
is unnatural and it'll always be unnatural. And there's
Yeah.
like the point of last week was Picard can't bring the doctor back from dead, right? Like death is like a thing that they all still deal with and it's still like a heavy issue in the show.
Yeah.
So it's weird. Roddenberry clearly just, yeah, he just had like such an ideal vision of his show that it's fine, but like, how do you write to that? Like, what do you want him to have? You just, so his episode would have been they're scanning the planet. It's an evil alien down on the planet because aliens are all evil. It's a ball of light and it's going to come up
Hmm.
and it's going to torture, the three people on the ship, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. They're going to be bothered by the alien and then they have to figure out a way to stop the alien from controlling the ship. That's the episode because that's every episode is they investigate something, an alien takes over the ship, they have to outsmart the alien, and that's it. And
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like how do you have character development? How do you have this be sustainable? How do you not make every episode the same exact thing?
Yeah. I know. Yeah. It's just stupid.
So then, composer Dennis McCarthy recalled, I had a difficult time conveying the sense of loss the child was feeling while simultaneously not losing sight of the threat of the alien entity. He says, I had to juxtapose one over the other without losing sight of either during the whole process. It's melodic with a lot of sadness, but there's always that underlying threat, the potential danger. And I was thinking, like, yes, you have to paint this picture where the kid is sad and heartbroken and like just racked with grief. And then it's like, but also that's not really the kid's mother.
No.
Yeah, good stuff. And then, as the last bit of trivia, this episode features the second and final usage of the Enterprise computer access room, which debuted 4 episodes earlier in Evolution.
Well, cool.
Cool.
Why build it?
No idea.
It's
Yeah.
funny I say that because I've also done the same thing more. Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking when you were saying it, I was like, second and last, baby, second and last.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, that was trivia. We'll cut back to the conclusion of the review. So we come back from that commercial break where the alien's taking things over. I figured we'll have to see if Josh from my office agrees the streak of light alien is kind of does electrical things with the console. So I was like, is this more
Yeah, I was
like
thinking about that too.
like
Well, there's a scene where
electricity?
it's the same CGI, And it's
Yeah,
like
right.
through
That
the
was
screen.
like
I was like, "Psh, 5 in a row, baby."
5 in a row. I thought the force fields were cool. I liked all that
Yeah.
stuff. Watching the force fields go up, that was really cool.
I think that's cool to see that they have the ability to force field off like sections of hallways and rooms.
Yep.
I like
Yep.
that.
Makes perfect sense. And then Picard is like close force field 8B
Yeah.
or open, I guess I should say. And then I don't know. Picard just calls it as he sees it, basically. He's like, no, nope, you're not the mother. You're doing something weird, and Jeremy's gonna be safe with us and not you. It's just
Yeah.
like, no, no.
No, no, no. The child must come to the planet.
I had a mixed feeling when it cuts to Geordi and he's watching the alien like go zip, zap, zip, zap, zip, and he's like, well, while it's learning about us and going to kill us.
I hope it doesn't learn how to blow us to kingdom come while it's learning how to blow us to kingdom come.
Right.
Okay, let's rework that line a little bit. Let's do it a little quicker and let's not make it so cheesy. All right.
Yeah, and also just like if you think this thing is learning how to destroy everybody on the Enterprise, like maybe try to do something about it instead of just like watching it do.
I hope it doesn't learn how to blow us up.
Wow. Ooh.
I also really enjoyed this stuff in Star Trek where they're like, "Sir, the energy beam is is it's moving all over all these panels." Whoa. That's a good running
Yeah,
bit
also
today.
when exactly to your point, when the thing comes in and O'Brien's like backing out of the engineering or out of the transporter room, and then the security guys like come in and then they're all at the door, and then they open the door and you see it over at the other side, and it's like and it just like they're all like, whoa, almost got me.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
bad.
it's
Yeah,
good. It's good.
it's great stuff as always.
Always. I wrote down a quote that I liked. I'm going to like not read it verbatim, but basically the quote was a memory is something to cherish and not something to live in.
Yeah, I did like that.
Yeah, good one.
It's funny that in trivia you brought up that this plot originally kind of was like the holodeck because that's kind of what I thought was like,
Hmm.
like, yeah, this isn't real, this is fake, It's like, yes, but also like, if you guys go into the holodeck and do stuff, like that's also kind of bad too, right? Like that's
Right. Yeah. There's a gray line between like what is
yeah,
therapeutic and like what is like hurting a person,
yeah.
like not healthy.
Like Picard going in there and meeting his girlfriend at Paris, like that's it's a little on the nose, right?
Yes. But yeah, overall, I thought that the ending with Wesley, Picard, Troy, Jeremy, and Worf was pretty good in that room where
It
they
is really
have
good. Yeah.
Wesley come down and
Yeah.
Troy's like, okay, like, I
Bring
don't,
in Wesley. We need to discuss why he hates me.
right, right.
We have to talk about this and have the boy watch.
Yeah, it's just really good. It's not like any of them are bad actors. I just like the fact that obviously Will Wheaton knows how to act because he's been a movie star at this point, even younger. And Patrick Stewart is like a trained Shakespearean actor. So like when these two of these guys go back and forth, like the blurry line of it being Will Wheaton and Patrick Stewart saying lines to each other kind of blurs away and it becomes Wesley and Picard having like a scene together. And it's nice because I got like absorbed by what the exchange between the two characters because it's like, well, no, I hated him. I was so angry with him and all this stuff. And like the way Patrick Stewart like reacts to it and also is just like, what, why? Let's talk about it. Like, why did that upset you? Like, and you can
Yeah.
see that like Picard is bothered by it. Like, he's not just like using this as a means to just be like, well, I'm just gonna make Wesley say terrible things so that Jeremy can be sad. It's like he's also affected by it. He's not like just using Wesley's grief as like a tool.
Yeah.
He's also sad. So I really enjoyed
Yeah.
the
I
whole
just like Troy in this scene. She's like, no, no, no. Tell him. Tell him more. Say it to him. Say it to his face. Say it to his stupid face. Tell him. Tell him you hate him.
He's like, but I don't anymore.
I
I've
wasn't
gotten over
sad. I wasn't sad, Picard. I was mad. I was really mad.
it. Yep, exactly.
Mad at you.
And then the alien's just sitting there.
This is why I want to take the boy away from me. You people are all mad. You mad?
The other thing too, as I was thinking, was it was really funny how they just go about the whole thing and like they really drag it out. They don't really like let it go, which is what I appreciated about the scene. They don't like cut away. They don't try to make light of it. They don't try to pretend that like it's not as deep as it is. Like Wesley
Yeah.
doesn't just say one line. Troy doesn't just
Mm-mm.
say one line, and like everything's resolved because we've said our one scripted line.
But being people is what makes us sad. That's a good point. Well,
Right.
anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I even like how, the whole thing happens and then he's like, is that how you feel about Commander Wolf? He's like, yeah, I hate him. I
When they
hate
cut
him.
when they cut back to him, and he already has the
Yeah.
tears like
They
halfway down
clearly
his
put
cheek.
water
It's
like
like
on his face.
he was like he's
He
listening
wants
to
me to be his brother, but I hate him. I
I
hate
hate
him.
him.
I
I
hate
hate
him.
him. Yeah.
He took
I hate you. Yeah.
Oh man.
So what's the running theory?
Well, it's more of a thought. I was like, okay, so the conclusion is really good of them like all kind of having, this big conversation and then the alien being like, mm-hmm, you're good. And I was like, hey, what would be interesting, right? Is if this alien the whole time like didn't actually want to take Jeremy to the planet, right? So his mom gets killed on the planet. The aliens feel really bad because it was their fault from a society long ago that they
Right.
hate, and they want him to be good and taken care of.
Right.
And so they're doing all this to test the crew to see if Jeremy really will be in good hands and they'll take care of him and give him a good life.
It's
You know,
not a
it's
terrible theory.
because like as soon as that scene happens, she's just like, "Nice, you guys got it." And I know that's a very tropey Star Trek thing, but I was just thinking like, hey, that's kind of an interesting idea if that was a thing. The alien is because we've seen aliens test the crew before on certain things
Right.
to be like, okay, you guys are okay.
Yeah, like the Metrons.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of a
Yeah.
cool idea.
It's an interesting thought.
Yeah, because in my notes, at first I was like, why do we have to keep proving to aliens that we're better because that we have emotions?
Yes.
And then I was like, but what if the aliens were actually like testing us?
Yeah, it would have been funny if the when she goes to leave the room, she just turns back and then like winks at everybody and then everything disappears. We knew the whole time. Yeah, that's definitely interesting. It's I don't dislike it. I think
Definitely
sadly
not. That's not true. No, I know
no,
it's
I
not
was
true.
just say I definitely think that you thought more out of the box than the writers did. But
Yeah, well, yeah.
yeah, I like it. So that we have that whole scene where they talk, and again, it's really decent. It's actually a nice ending. They don't super wrap things up in a bow, like we didn't. They just didn't do one line pats on the backs to each other. The only thing I wasn't crazy about is So obviously the ending where Jeremy is lighting the candles, and like you said, these are for our mothers.
Matakin, Manakin, Mukakaki.
Right. And obviously Jeremy saying the Klingon words is like really decent. And him like looking up to Worf and being like, brother.
And Worf's trying not to cry. That's
Yeah.
pretty
No,
good.
no, I won't.
Very, very good, Wesley. Very good. Jeremy, that's great.
Oh yes.
Really good. Oh, yes. Very
Uh
good. Oh,
I believe the alien has put toxic air in the room again.
yes.
I'll have to clear excuse me for a moment.
I'll have to learn how to chew my gawk better next time.
The warrior's
Oh.
eyes never leak. Um the it's just a little bit too much of a
Yeah.
bow when it's like Jeremy's like I hate you, and why couldn't you die? And then Wesley had made the comment that like it took me a long time to like get over it. He's like, I'm totally
Mhm.
fine about it now. Like I honestly don't have any issues towards feelings of hate towards you, Picard. And it's like, here's Jeremy. He's gone through this like insanely brutal like flit of emotions, And then he gets to have one outburst towards Worf, and then Worf's like, if you'll allow me to do one ritual, that would be great. And he's like, okay. And then it's just like cut to he's totally embracing like Klingon life and saying Klingon words, and I don't know. It's just like he's a little too agreeable, a little
Yeah.
too quickly.
I can see that.
And I know everybody wants to end it happy, where we don't worry about Jeremy and Worf like having issues at the end of the episode. I understand, but
I view it more as like this is like the start of the healing process.
it's possible. Yeah, that's a good way to look
Like
at it.
it's not like he's resolved and he's cool with Worf. It's like this is kind of the start of them working on things, and even him like letting his mom go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the really great thing that I can tell you is that we never see Jeremy again.
Thank God.
And that's it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Not even like in Star Trek Picard.
Nothing.
Jeez,
Absolutely
dude.
nothing. Nope. I think in one episode they bring up his mom, and I think that's it.
I won't lie telling you that I had that feeling, but that's good. It's good to know.
Yeah. Now, the thing that really makes me laugh is if you go on any like official canon Star Trek like thing, Jeremy is always listed as his brother, but not for a second does he come back. And then I had read in trivia that obviously fans had asked, over the years, like,
Yeah.
hey,
Hey,
so
what happened to
when-
Jeremy?
Right. And basically the response was like they didn't know what to write to the character. Like, how do you write a story that's interesting about it? And it's like, I don't know, like anything.
I don't know why did you pigeonhole yourself so badly then?
To me, it's just
you made him his brother.
Right.
I didn't do that. You did that.
It's just the thing where it's just like literally have Worf like reading a message, and just like there's a scene where he's in his room and it's like Deanna comes in to talk to him about something happening in the episode. And she's like, sorry, are you writing a letter to Jeremy? And he's like, yeah, that's it. All set.
My dearest Jeremy.
Dearest Jeremy.
Brother.
Yeah, it sucks. It's one of the things that I really don't like, because it would be really cool to now advance this by, 15 years, even 10 years. And like now something's happening with Worf, or he's, some sort of ceremony is happening with Worf. And like Jeremy is there.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's his brother, right? It's their family now. It's like, no, instead what you're left to believe is that he does this bonding thing with him, and then
Doesn't work.
Right. And then Jeremy goes back to Earth with his aunt and uncle, and like, that's it.
Cool.
And they never talk to each other again.
Well,
It's great.
I would have liked Jeremy to grow up to be head of security.
Yep. He's not. I think there's some books maybe where they talk about Worf like talking to Jeremy and stuff like that, getting like postcards from him, but it's a book, and books don't matter. So, well, it's a sad way to end an episode called The Bonding, when they don't bond, but we're not done talking about it, because now it's time to get into the thing that everyone's been waiting for.
Caleb?
So, Caleb, who gets the Erica Ortegas Award for being the most unlikable?
I think you already know.
I think I have a good idea.
Deanna really annoyed me this episode.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And not the whole episode. I came around, but for most of it, I was like, "What? She's just the expert,
Yeah, there are some certain points in the opening parts of the episode where you're just like, okay, sure. I mean, she's Gwen from Galaxy Quest. It's just like, what is the point of this character? And also, like, you're supposed to be this like accredited senior staff like counselor, and you don't know how to do your job. So, and I'm not a counselor, and I don't have a degree in psychology, and it's like I know that some of the stuff that she says and does is like, that doesn't make any sense. So
yeah, I just don't like that she came off that way, and like she's the child expert and the grief expert, and it's like not even real therapists are in all aspects of therapy, like it's not like it's a one fit all for everything.
No, I agree. Well, next is the Elizabeth Cutler Award for being the most forgettable character of the episode.
I'm leaning towards Riker.
Oh, okay, yeah.
or Data. It's probably Data this week, honestly, because we've had so many episodes where it's very much Data centric.
Or he's like heavily involved, right?
He fixes everything, and this week it's like he has that one scene in the bar
Right.
where he really has like an actual talk, and that's pretty much it, you know?
Yeah. But I think to your point, I think this is a great way to show that like he's kind of useless in these areas when it comes to like emotions and like dealing with things that require, humans to grieve. Like he doesn't, like he said, even in that scene where he talks about Tasha, it's a more noticeable absence from his life. It's not like he's not grieving Tasha. He just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, it's good. It does fit his character to not be heavily involved in this episode,
right.
but yeah, it's just going from that to nothing is a little strange.
I agree. I mean, he does all the important stuff on there when they need him to. Like he's shutting things off or giving exposition. So
Yeah, I mean, he's there. He just doesn't have a lot of talking roles, is all, I guess.
yeah. But you can admit it's been a pretty heavy like Picard stretch.
Mm.
Like Picard is now the Data of this season, where he's coming in and like fixing everything.
I think that's what we were talking about. I think that's what makes Strange New Worlds so bad recently is that, I mean, look how heavily involved Picard is in everything.
Yeah.
And then compare that to what Pike did in season 3. It's like, it's nothing.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Don't disagree. Well, next is the Mugatu Award for the best alien of the episode.
it's definitely Worf.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah. It's the Koinoinians. Never seen.
Kamarmians.
No. Yeah, at least we get a little bit of Klingon stuff in it, so it's nice to have more of that.
So nice.
Well, next is the Trip Tucker Award for the MVP of the episode.
It's Jeremy.
Oh, okay. Love it.
He's the MVP. I mean, look what he went through. It's pretty bad.
He does go through the ringer pretty hard.
He goes through the ringer. Yeah.
And then he's like, cool, let's do this Klingon ritual. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
the
this is-
bravest and emotionally like secure 10-year-old you'll ever meet.
Yep. I get up every morning and I gel and comb my hair by myself. I get dressed by myself.
It was a thing where, to your point, I was like, man, it's so weird that this kid's in his room alone. And then I was kind of like, yeah, but I guess like he could be very self-sufficient. He could literally just walk over to the thing and then just be like, dinner, and then
Oh, yeah.
the machine would just make it for him.
Yeah, it's true. That is true. In this universe, it's like, what do you really need parents for?
Right. It's like, well, he could get into something bad. It's like, man, but there's nothing
No,
bad to get
not really.
into.
Computer poison.
Right. No. Well, next is the Spock Award for the best line of the episode.
I wrote down a few. I wrote down Worf says he can't get vengeance on the enemy that's been dust for centuries.
Yep.
I thought that was good. I mean, there's some good stuff in the Picard speech at the end too, but
Yep.
Yeah, let's just do the Worf line.
Great. No, that's good. Yeah. Honestly, it plays to the episode where Worf being kind of like, he's kind of the bonding, right? Like, it's the bonding of a mother and child, the son, and then also the bonding of the, like, inappropriate bonding of the alien to the child, but then ultimately
Yes.
Worf
Yeah.
and Jeremy bonding. So,
Yeah.
I think it plays to it well. Next is the Shran Award for the best action sequence.
I'm gonna say it's when Worf comes back on board and he's all blown up.
Yeah, totally. They're all standing there like in the circle, and he's got the phaser out, and then like they're all like, I mean, all of them were damaged
yeah,
in some way.
that's true. That scene where they all beam back up, like they're all pretty bad.
Yeah, they're all like roughed up and burnt. Because even her, like Marla, there when she's on the ground, like her uniform's all burnt up too. And also, like, there's another science officer, and then some other type of guy in like a white jumper kind of thing, and they're all like dirty and heavily
One
burnt.
dead.
One dead on arrival.
One dead on arrival, yo.
I'm not even gonna try.
Oh, too late.
It's like, oh man, it just happened seconds ago.
Oh
Has there ever
man,
been
if
another
only Troy could have felt it 3 seconds earlier.
I also was thinking, was there any other episode where a character died or was near death and they had just no, there's never been an episode where they were able
Nope.
to bring somebody back.
And in fact, so far there hasn't been one where it's been anybody that I've cared about. So
That's true.
So,
Well, next is the NX-01 award for some sweet ship stuff.
I'm gonna say it's the force field in the hallway.
Ooh,
Yeah,
nice. That's a
like
really
seeing
good
it.
one.
Yeah.
I thought one before we even talked about this episode, I thought it was going to be Jeremy watching home videos on his pad.
Nah, I don't care about that. It's just so stupid. Yeah, I don't even want to. I don't even want to reference it because it's just so dumb to me that like they bring these people back and they're
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, we don't have videos. We don't watch like TV or anything.
No,
And then now it's like so, but Jeremy has all his home videos because like why wouldn't they have videos and pictures of family members in this
I
timeline?
wouldn't do that. You got to have the set. Remember, they built the set of the room, so now they can film the mother
Uh,
on the set with the kid and have it be home videos. Otherwise, why are you filming in the
oh my
quarters?
God,
Yeah, you know
you're
it's
100% right
it's
on that.
exact. Yeah, otherwise it's boring. They're like, "Look, I'm in the quarters and we're eating spaghetti." It's like, no,
Uh-huh.
nobody cares about that. It's like the only reason that he has home videos
Mm.
because they had the house set.
Oh my God, that is his house. My God.
God. But let's speak to the force fields because that's not what you made the award about.
Force fields are good.
Force fields are good. Good sound effect. I like that the
Mhm.
wall panels light up, like the outline of the
Yep,
door lights up. I like that a lot.
it's
And
good.
the cool thing is like yeah, in the remastering they make things look a lot sharper and a lot better. But the cool thing is like I like that effect. I like that nice like white noise static effect that they put up over the thing. It's
Hmm.
just a
It's
cool
cool.
effect. Yeah,
I like it. Yeah,
very
it's good.
Star Trekky. Yeah.
Do you think she had the ability to walk through that if she wanted to?
Yes, she just couldn't get Jeremy
So
to.
obviously she has to stop because Jeremy
Sure.
can't.
Right. Yeah, when you're going through like ship shields and like the floor and I mean just go down through the floor
Yeah,
like the so what did the force fields in this hallway just go into the floor or go into the ceiling? Like it doesn't matter.
that's true.
Yeah, okay, next is the Porthos Award for being the cheesiest thing of the episode.
Man, we were talking about some cheesy stuff too. But the main cheesy thing we were talking about was in trivia about Roddenberry having
Oh yeah.
weird ideas as per usual. But I think the cheesiest part of this episode is when Jordy's like working on the panel
Yes.
and then he's like staring up at the alien in the panel
Yes.
and he's like "Psh." That line Kingdom Come
Yes.
reiterated twice is real. It's real bad. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a couple other ones I might be contenders for me, but yeah, I wasn't really thrilled with that scene either.
I think he ducks it like right after too, which
Whoa.
really puts the nail on the head for me.
One of them was not necessarily cheesy. I think it's just a bad filming idea. Is I think Riker on the bridge says something like, he's like, "All right, LaForge, we need you to do whatever he says to him." And then it cuts to Geordi in engineering and he's like this, and then he turns. "You've got it,
The
Commander."
into the light, yeah, the light's beaming off his face. Yeah,
I was just like, okay, but it's all right.
yeah, that one's pretty bad too.
Yeah, but I really wasn't thrilled with just Geordi sitting there and just being like, oh, this is bad. And if it's as bad as I think it's going to be, it could be really bad. And it just sits there. I'm like, do something. Lock out the alien.
Lock out, tag out, but he won't.
No.
Hey, if this alien figures out how to change the intermix, man, we're in for it.
Hope he doesn't do
I
that.
sure hope he doesn't find out that the intermix switch is on the side, and if you put any one of those higher or lower, kaboom!
Yeah, hope he doesn't figure out a way to how to get Jeremy off the ship and then blow us up by doing these three simple steps.
By activating these two command words.
I wonder if it knows that it can just use site to site transport and doesn't have to go to the transporter room. It can just control transporters from transporter room and just beam them off the ship because that's how transporters work. Next and finally is the Star Trek Enterprise Award for the best scene of the episode.
I'll give that to the end scene where they are all talking in the quarters.
Yeah.
Mostly Picard doing the talking. I enjoyed.
Picard and Wesley, or just in general?
Yeah, I mean, so Picard gives the whole speech on like why it's good for people to be sad and
Yeah, his memories thing I talked
before
about.
he calls in Wesley.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, it was good.
Picard is always disgusted when people do things.
He hates it when people don't think how he does.
Yep.
Makes
Yeah,
him
it's a
sick.
really good sequence. And to me, it's funny, we always tear the episode apart after we're like, that was a really good episode and I really enjoyed it. And then we do this.
We really didn't tear this one apart that much, though.
Not too badly, but it kind of generally sounds like, we didn't really enjoy it. But the thing that I think, and I think you can agree too, that like any of the general hangups I had in the episode where I was like, Troy's kind of annoying, or like, this Geordi thing is really stupid, or like, what is going on? Like, what are they doing? Why are they leave the kid alone? Like, the kid just be sad for like 10 minutes. And like, so what if the kid's putting on a brave face? Like, it's been an hour. Like his life has not come, like all that stuff. This end sequence, the whole sequence when they arrive and like Picard arrives in the room with Worf and like they talk and they bring Wesley in, like the whole stretch really just solidifies it being a really good episode. Because normally, like we talked about, like the ending of a Star Trek episode is very much like, here comes the bow. Like the alien here at the end is just going to be like, you know what? I'm wrong. I shouldn't have done this. Bye.
Mm.
And then that's it. Like, and Jeremy's just totally fine. Can you believe my mom's dead? That was close. I almost went down to the planet.
Oh my God, I almost went down there just for patches.
But yeah, good stuff. I like this end sequence very much too.
Yeah, it's good. And I think that the issues that I did have, I think built up to this scene and resolved.
Right. Right, exactly. Well,
Which is good.
that is what Caleb thought of the episode. We appreciate him taking the time to make that award ceremony work. But now it's your turn to have your own personal award ceremony. You can go down to the comment section and you can write for us who gets the Popcorn Award for being the best actor of the episode. We're curious to see what you think. Your suggestions will influence Caleb, maybe, and we'll talk about it in another video series, Hailing Frequencies Open, where we discuss your comments on the channel. So that means take an extra minute here while you're down there writing in the Popcorn Award and let us know what you thought about the episode. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you want more of it? Or did you find that this bonding should have been more broken? Let us know down below.
Next time on Star Trek The Next Generation.
Next week's episode is episode 6 of Star Trek The Next Generation's season 3, and that episode is entitled Booby Trap. Yeah.
It started playing before I shut off Paramount.
Yep.
I saw Geordi on a beach.
You sure did see Geordi on the
So,
beach.
Man, am I ready for that one.
You are. You're ready.
It's going to be so good. This episode should have been called Booby Trap.
It should have been called Parent Trap. Got it. Did it.
Yeah, you got it.
Yes.
Parent Trap.
Yeah, only one parent, right? Okay. So we have that to look forward to. That'll be exciting for Caleb to get into. And we appreciate you guys sticking it through with us. But as always, if you liked our review of this episode, like the video. If you disliked our review of this episode, dislike the video. Share it with all your friends and family and Trek enthusiasts. Subscribe so you don't miss a review. And ring that bell so you can catch a review as soon as it comes out on the channel. And then, when you're done on this channel and you don't want to watch more Star Trek review content, you can always go over to Caleb's channel. Caleb has a fun prop channel where he goes and builds things from pop culture and video games and things of that nature. So you can go over there and see what he has built. Maybe find something that you like and you can build it yourself and have it in the privacy of your own home.
Yeah. Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
That's right.
Just like Gandalf said. I actually have a new video this week, Will.
Look at that.
Isn't that crazy?
Nope.
It is. And you know what's even more crazy? I have a video next week as well.
Oh.
Well, what a time to be alive.
You'll have to watch Booby Trap to see what that video is all about. Can you give us a teaser of what this week's video
This week is an update on what I've been doing. Yeah, I thought it would be kind of fun to just kind of show a bunch of stuff I've been working on or building and haven't made videos on. So I do
There
kind of
you
a game room update, and then I show off a bunch of other game stuff.
Very
So it's
cool.
fun. And next week is an actual prop video, so stay
Ooh.
surprised.
And while you're over there, make sure when you're done watching that video that you like it, you comment on it, maybe leave a suggestion of something for him to make. You never know. Maybe if you like seeing a thing and you want to know how to make it yourself, you can ask him, hey, make it and show me how to make it. He'd love to do that.
I love doing it.
And, subscribe, but ultimately, you decide. We appreciate Ed, Mark, Star, and Captain Olimar, as always, for being Patreon supporters of the channel. Can't thank those guys enough. They really make us laugh and come through and keep this show going and help Caleb and I feel like we're making an impact on our YouTube community.
Yeah.
We appreciate those guys. And we're grateful for all the things that you guys do to make our channel look fun, excellent, and awesome, and help send it out to the YouTube algorithm so that people can ignore it. We love it. And this has been the Retrek Review. And Caleb, you can send us out.
All right, computer, run program childhood memories with both parents. Thank you. Perhaps the Picard could bring my mother back as well. That was last week. He didn't do nothing.